whatever that was. How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. And I have been in just a lesson mood lately. You know, I go through phases on here, and I have a bunch of lessons planned. Now, so this one we're going to talk about getting rid of that lazy picking hand. So I have 3 different examples here for you. I had a 4th, but I forgot to tab it out, so maybe there will be a part 2. And we're going to go through some of my favorite, it's just ways to mix up your scales. You know, I love the way a real fast, ascent scale sounds. But that's kind of like a boring way to do it. And when you start implying these different patterns and different ways of navigating through your scale, it becomes much more melodic and just has a whole different vibe to it. So I have 3 different ones here for you. Some based off of, large 8-note groupings, some 6-note groupings, some I haven't counted yet. However many that just was, that's one of them. So we're going to go ahead and jump into these. You can check out my tabs down below and my free guitar course that is also linked down below the fretboard decoder. And just get your guitars and let's go ahead and dive on into these. Hope you enjoy the lessons. Alright, so let's dive on into these. Now, you'll notice that I am doing alternate picking on, I believe, all of these. But one of them, naturally, I wanted to do some economy picking, but I chose just to keep everything alternate picking for this one. So, the very first one, what I like is it's this descending pattern. I don't even know how many notes it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6-note sequence, but what I like is I'm descending, but the notes are actually ascending each time. So even I guess that's technically descending, but it's just kind of, it's not your typical just like every single note is descending the whole time. It's nothing like that. It has this underlying kind of like melody, because the notes are ascending, descending the whole time. And I chose to go with octaves versus just going down the scale. Perfectly kind of in position. So I'm starting all the way up here. I'm starting with a downstroke on my picking. So just to get the first one under our fingers, I'm going to go 14, 15 on the high E string, and then 17 on the B. Okay? And just getting that, to break it up, I like to try to avoid playing a lot of stuff in lines. I try to avoid lines. And what I mean by that is instead of going like this, which is all perfectly in line, now I'm starting to incorporate this more of a, I don't know the right word for it, but the notes are going like this. See, even though they're in order, I went boom, boom, and I jumped back. So there was a note in between. So this, interval is pretty large between those two. Versus, okay, so we have, now I go to 17 on the B string. Like I said, it's all alternate, so down, up, down. Now what happens is then I go back to the high string and I play 14, but I only play 14 this time. Then I go to the B and it's 15, 17. Now this pattern by itself is a great one to sit there and cycle. And I like that because, again, it sounds musical. There's like this underlying melody to it. And just sit there and get it clean. This isn't about how fast. I'm not playing these things, blisteringly fast. There's so many guys who are 1,000 times faster than I am. I'm just looking for cleanliness. I love the sound of that pick, very clear picked note. If you listen to it, I love that sound. So that's what I'm aiming for. I'm not trying to watch it. I'll try to play it too fast. Watch what happens to my picking. You hear it? It gets sloppy. We don't want that. I'd rather you play slow and clean than fast and sloppy. Now, what I like about this and the way that I'm fingering it is I end up using all 4 fingers. So we have that first one. Now I'm going to go, so what's happening here is I'm going to go 13, 15 on the B, and I go to 16 on the G. Now notice what fingers I'm using. Now if you want to go like this, by all means feel free to, it's up to you. My hands are just kind of bigger, so they don't fit the best up here, so I tend to stretch sometimes. Okay, so we have that, so 13, 15, 16. And then I go back to that 13, and then I'm incorporating my pinky here. I'm going to go 13 on the B, 14, 16 on the G. So I do a little bit of a shifter with my hand, which I'm typically against, but just for, convenience sake of my hand, I find this is gradually moving me in the direction that I want to go. Okay? Now, instead of going right here, I actually shift down and I go into an octave. So I'm going to go 11 to 12 on the G, and then 14 on the D. Same thing. Octave lower. Then I go back to 11, and then 12, 14 on the D. So basically, once you get the pattern down, this is really easy to move around. I'll play it in some other scale positions here in a minute, but okay. Now I'm gonna hang out here for a minute, and I'm just gonna go 8 to 10 on the D, 14 on the A, and then I'm gonna go 8, 12, 14. Okay. So far we have. Final part here, again, I chose to shift back because I'm trying to gradually make my way down the neck. So I shifted back to 9, so I go 9, 10, 12, so 9, 10 on the A and 12 on the low E, and then 9, and then 10, 12 on the low E string. And I'm pretending this is an E, is how I'm doing it. It could also be G, but I'm thinking more of like an E. I would use it in that situation more than G. But that's kind of my view. So I'll do the whole thing nice and slow for you, and then we'll move on to the next one. So it goes like this. Alright, so this next one is significantly more tricky, and I chose to make this a 3-string one, but each string does not have the same number of notes on it, and we are actually outlining chords. So what's really happening here is we're playing a G add 9, which I love utilizing add 9 chords, going to a good old E dominant 7, and then going to an A add 9, but the pattern for the G and the A stay exactly the same. So slow would look like this. I'll play it slower than that. That wasn't that slow. But anyway, so right here we're going to go like this. So 15 on the high E string to 10, and then 12 to 10 on the B. This is like normal pentatonic stuff. So this is really where it's interesting to find the chords that are inside of a lot of these things, because it makes it really fun. And outlining chords is really not that difficult. I think it gets labeled as being hard, but it's really not that bad. And then I'm going to go to 12 on the G, which is just an octave of that G note that we played. Now I'm alternate picking all of these, but I'll be totally honest with you. If I was to play this naturally, I would do pull-offs. I would go, that's how I instinctually want to play that, but for the sake of the video, about picking, I chose to do this. It's a nice little challenge for myself. And I can still do it probably as fast picking, but I just like the sound of the pull-offs in there. But anyways, to break this down a little bit further, to have an add 9 chord, you need your root, third, fifth, and then of course you're adding the 2 or the 9. So basically, this is our root. Now I'm going all the way back here, and I'm getting this D note, which is our fifth. The B note is our third, and then right here, that's our 2 or your 9, and then another octave. So that's why that is an add 9 chord. So if you know how to play your add 9 chords, then that's basically what we're outlining the whole time. Now what's really cool is this one, is that we move up here and we're going to do a dominant 7. So oh, you know what? That's not a dominant 7. I'm playing the wrong note, but we'll roll with it anyways. I'll explain my mistake here in a second. The notes are fine, but it's just not a dominant 7 like I thought. We're going to go like this. We're going to go 16 on the high string to 12, and then 15 to 12 on the B. Okay? Now, I went to 14 in here, Now that technically makes it not a dominant 7 like I thought. I would need to have went to 13, okay? It sounds fine. You know, our ear isn't upset about it. It's just not the chord that I thought it was. That's your dominant 7. So let's go through this one. So 16, 12, pick down, up, 15, 12. Now here's where it gets tricky because you have to go 14, and then 12, 15, 12 is where it ends. The same pattern as the other one. And the way it makes sense to my picking hand is I'm thinking of it like this. 2 note per string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's an 8 note sequence, but I'm counting it in 2s. I don't know why that's the way my brain works, but I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And it makes the cycling pattern for my picking hand easy because it's the same each time. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay? Now you can get fast with it. And the next one I do is I just turn it into an A add 9. So basically what I do is I go 17 to 12, and then 14, 12, and then 14 on the G. Same pattern as the G add 9, I just literally moved it up 2 frets. I did that by mistake and it just sounded good, so I ran with it. So 17, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12, 14, 12. Again, count those 8s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I would even take an exercise like this and move it up chromatically. You know, just go like, take that G, move up. Because then we're playing G sharp. There's your A. You know, it's just a fun one to mess around with. So have that one. That's a really good challenge because, like I said, the tricky part is the fact that there's 1 note on the G. All right, now this last one we're going to do is something new that I've been, trying to get better at. I can't play it real fast yet, but is this pattern of getting through my good old major scale. So I'm just thinking this is G Ionium all the way up here. It's a nice little challenge. If this is messing with you, playing up here past the 12th fret, move it down. Ain't no shame in that game. So we're all the way up here, and basically I'll play it slow once. It goes like this. You see my big fingers get in the way again. Right here I have to shift to using these 3 fingers. But basically I'm going to go from 15 all the way up here to 19. Now this is what I was talking about before, about avoiding lines. So I didn't go like this, but I'm still thinking 3 notes. It's a 3-note sequence. So I go 15, 19, 17. 17 on the low E string. That's a big jump, That's a 5th apart right there. So now I go back and incorporate a line now. I'm going to go 15, 17, 19 on the A string. So maybe it doesn't have melody. Like you just start hearing they go. I can hear like melodies on top of it. Now I'm going to shift down and we're going to do the same thing. You're going to go 16, 17. 16, 19. 17 on the A, and then 16, 17, 19. Okay, shifting down again. It's the same pattern. If you know your major scale, then you're golden on this. So you're going to go 16, 19, 17, 16, 17, 19. Here's the tricky part. The transition happens here. We have to shift positions. Now, what I do, so I was making sure the camera's still recording, is I end up switching to using these 3 fingers. It's just, like I said, my hand just doesn't fit up here. So we're going to go 17, 20, 19, and then 17, 19, 20 on the B. So that was on the B. That's the G, back to the B. So each sequence, there's 1 note on the string above it. And what's nice here is it's the exact same thing. You go to the high E string, 17, 20, 19 on the B, 17, 19, 20. Now, just like the other ones, sit there and play this thing. Just take one of them apart and play it, Whatever one's giving you trouble, like those are harder for me to play, so I need to focus on this. And what always is interesting to me to take a pattern like this and then expand it. So you have this, but it's like, what if I went, you know, get bigger and bigger with it, or maybe do something, you know, some kind of crazy pattern. But there's that one, and these have just been helping me, you know, get my picking back in shape, and hopefully they help you too. Alright homies, that's going to be it. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video today. Like I said, I've just been in a lesson mood, so I hope you guys are cool with it. Get the tabs and stuff, check out the fretboard decoder, and I'm just going to see you guys all later. So, see you later with another lesson.